Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling a problem that I am sure drives a lot of teams crazy, trying to manage dozens or, even hundreds of files in SharePoint all at once. If you've ever been clicking and clicking and clicking just to edit some metadata or share a new batch of project files, and you just thought to yourself, there has to be a better way, well, you are definitely in the right place. Okay, let's get into it.
So, here's the plan. First, we're going to really define what this bulk file headache is all about. Then we'll look at the tools SharePoint gives you out of the box. After that, we'll uncover a much more powerful way to get things done, see how it works in the real world, and wrap up with some best practices to keep everything running smoothly.
Here's the thing, it's a pretty simple fact of life. As your projects get bigger, so does all the admin work that comes with them. All that file management, it just snowballs.
And we're not talking about obscure, weird tasks here. These are the things you do every single day. Updating properties, sharing documents with a team, fixing a typo across a bunch of files, checking everything in at the end of the day. When it's just a few files, no big deal. But when it's 50 or 100, it can grind your team's productivity to a halt.
All right, so what does SharePoint give you to handle this stuff? Well, SharePoint is an amazing platform. But when it comes to doing things in bulk, the official way can feel, let's say, a little clunky. Okay, take bulk editing. The standard way involves going to your library, manually ticking all the little checkboxes, clicking the info icon, which then opens this other pane on the side, and then you update the fields and click save. It works, sure, but it's a whole bunch of steps and screen loads every single time. And sharing files? Kind of the same story. You've got to go through a whole sequence of menus, set the permissions just right, and then send it off. It's great for control, but it's not exactly built for speed, especially when you're in a hurry. And this process here for checking in files really just proves the point. It's another crucial task for keeping documents organized, but again, it's a totally manual click-by-click operation that you have to repeat over and over. Now, of course, for the super technical wizards out there is another option. PowerShell scripting is incredibly powerful, no doubt about it. It can automate all of this stuff. But let's be real. This is not a practical solution for the vast majority of us who just need to get our work done. So all of this leads to the big question, right? What if there was a way to get that automation and power, but without having to learn how to code? And that's exactly where third-party tools come in. They're built from the ground up to fill these exact gaps. A great example highlighted in the source material is Verto Software's multiple file operations, which is designed to make all these bulk actions just easy. The entire point of a tool like this is to take all those separate multi-step processes for editing, for sharing, for checking in files, and just bring them all together into one simple interface. It's about getting rid of the constant clicking and screen hopping and making SharePoint management way, way easier for everyone. Okay. Let's make this really concrete. Let's look at a super common task and see how the two approaches stack up side by side. And this is where you can really see the difference. It's night and day. With the standard SharePoint method, it's a whole process. You're clicking, you're waiting for pages to load, you're navigating menus. But with a dedicated tool like Verto Software, the whole thing becomes a single focused action. It all happens on one screen. And that's really the magic number here, 1. You go from a workflow that's scattered all over the place to one single central screen to handle all your bulk file needs. Editing, sharing, checking in, you name it. The time you save is just huge. Now look, no matter what tools you end up using, whether it's the built-in stuff or a third-party solution, there are a few best practices that will just make your life so much easier. First, organize your files from the get-go. Trust me, a little organization up front makes any bulk task way less of a headache. Second, please, use SharePoint groups for permissions, not individual people. It's so much easier to add or remove one person from a group than to manage permissions for dozens of users. And finally, just keep an eye on who has access to what. A quick audit now and then keeps your data safe. And hey, we have to give credit where credit is due. For collaborating on a single file, SharePoint has an absolutely fantastic feature called co-authoring. Where multiple people can be in the same Word doc at the same time. It is a total game changer for teamwork. So really, taming that SharePoint beast isn't about finding one single magic trick. It's about being smart with your organization and then pairing that with the right tools for the job. You combine good habits with a tool that removes all that friction and you're golden.
And that's our look at solving bulk file operations in SharePoint. At the end of the day, the goal is to get your team out of that rut of doing repetitive, manual tasks and into a state of productive flow. Just think about it. What could you and your team create with all that time back? Thanks for watching.